What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. I cover political news, and we got another one coming in for you from Texas today. Now, we know Texas has been on the roll, folks. They have been hitting it hard as far as voter registration and trying to seek out and eliminate fraud. Right? We know we've been having millions of criminal aliens coming into this country, and we know for a fact that they are trying to register some of these people to vote where eligible. Now, that's a big component of this, eligibility, but we know for a fact that they are registering criminal aliens to vote. They're giving these people social security numbers, and it doesn't really take much to register to vote. And to think that nobody's going to do it, like, you're out of your freaking mind, right? Like, the corporate press and Democrats are like, oh, well, no, it's illegal. They can't do that. What are you talking about? It's illegal. They can't vote in federal elections. Well, why are you guys registering these people to vote where where eligible, right? Why are you sending out voter registration forms to these people? It makes absolutely no sense. And they don't have a solid answer for that. They just keep saying over and over and over again, well, it's illegal. They're not going to vote. It's illegal for them to vote in federal elections, right? Like, they're trying to stop the SAVE Act, which is a federal ban on illegal immigration. Plus, it mitigates a lot of the factors to try to help keep people from actually registering to vote, illegal criminal aliens to vote, right? So they're trying to take steps to prevent it instead of just making it illegal. They're putting bumpers in place, I guess you could say, to try to stop these people from actually doing it, like requiring ID, social security number, and all this garbage. But like I said, some of the criminal aliens that are coming into this country, they're giving them social security numbers, and they get an ID too. So if that's all you need, then boom, there you go. There's a lot of people in this country, right? Estimates upwards of 15 to 20 million. Now, the official numbers are around 10 million, but we know gotaways and all that other garbage. It's probably closer to 15 to 20 million. So that's a lot of people, right? That's a whole lot of people that can sway a vote. Let's get into the story and see what the hell Texas is talking about here. Check this out, y'all. Texas AG Paxton targets voter registration in state's biggest Latino counties. Now, it's not just the Latino counties, right? He's doing this all over the place, but there's red flags coming up from these specific counties. And there's been situations come up, blah, 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 but we'll get into that. Let's get into it. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton threatens two of the state's most populous and Democratic-leaning urban counties with lawsuits over their plans to register voters by mail. Paxton wrote letters Monday to Harris and Bexar counties, claiming their mailing of voter registration forms would either confuse non-citizens about their eligibility to vote or induce them to fraudulently register. Yes, this is a concern because if you're a criminal alien working in this country, right, you got a job because the Biden administration has just let you come in and you have a job. They gave you a damn work visa and all this, so you have a social security number so you can pay your taxes, and you get a voter registration form. I mean, what sense does that make to send these people voter registrations? But they're not differentiating between citizens and non-citizens. As a matter of fact, Democrats are trying to make it so easy that you could come over here on a vacation, literally, register to vote and vote. You just give up some made-up address or whatever. Don't even need to show an ID. None of that garbage. Just say you live here. Boom. That's it. Fill out your voter registration form and you can go vote. That's what Democrats are trying to do. That's insane. That's just outright ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing I think I've ever heard. But their argument over here, coming from like the wise Democrats over here, is like, oh, well, it's voter suppression to ask for an ID because minorities and oppressed groups, right? Like, there goes the Marxism. Oppressed groups can't get IDs. Like, shut your mouth. Like, really? Everybody has an ID, right? Most people have a driver's license, right? A lot of states require you to get an ID. Some states give you that ID for free if it's a requirement. If it's by law, you have to get an ID. Those states, some states, will actually pay for that, give you a free ID. So, I'm not trying to hear any of that voter suppression garbage. Because that's all it is voter suppression garbage. It's Democrats pandering to their base because SJWs around this place, the wokesters. They love to get out there and claim they're fighting for oppressed groups when all they're doing is fulfilling their own pride, their own vanity, virtue signaling to everybody. Hey, look at me. I'm standing up for the small guy. It's all sickening, if you ask me. No logic whatsoever. No critical thinking. None of that. Either way, it is illegal, and if you move forward with this proposal, I will use all available legal means to stop you, Paxton wrote. The Attorney General pointed to his 2020 suit against a similar effort to send out vote-by-mail applications to all registered voters in Harris County, a move he credited to the following year for former President Trump's victory in Texas, which was the GOP's narrowest in a generation. Paxton's letter targeted proposals by both counties to mail voter registration forms to eligible but unregistered voters, which he conflated in his letter with non-citizens. Did he? Are you sure about that, The Hill? That's really funny they would throw that in there. This guy's the Attorney General. Could it be a typo? Maybe so. But did he actually do it? Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and read this letter outright and see what the corporate press is talking about. I write today concerning proposals you have recently considered to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars to mail unsolicited voter registration applications to an untold number of Harris County residents, regardless of whether those residents have requested such an application or are even eligible to vote. At best, this proposal is ill-advised because it potentially confuses residents of Harris County about whether they are eligible to vote. At worst, it may induce the commission of a crime by encouraging individuals who are ineligible to vote to provide false information on the form. Either way, it is illegal, and if you move forward with this proposal, I will use all available legal means to stop you. Harris County has no authority granted to it by law and can take no action without a grant of legal authority. Nothing in Texas law gives counties the power to print and mail state voter registration forms to unregistered voters who have not requested such forms. When Harris County similarly attempted in 2020 to send applications to vote by mail to every registered voter in the county, whether they asked for an application or not, and whether they were eligible to vote by mail or not, I sued you and won. State v. Hollins. Citing a century of precedent, the court held that while the election code does not prohibit mass mailings, Harris County's actions were nonetheless unlawful because it expressly contemplates that ballot applications are requested by voters, and it emphasized that any reasonable doubt must be resolved against an implied grant of authority to the county. Because the same can be said for mass mailings of voter registration applications, I am confident the courts will agree with me that the proposals currently under consideration exceed your authority. Your proposal is particularly troubling this election cycle. In a year, there are numerous individuals within Texas who are not eligible to register to vote, for example, because they have been finally convicted of a felony. This year, that concern is magnified because you are aware the Biden-Harris administration's open border policies have saddled Texas and the entire country with a wave of illegal immigration that has resulted in ballooning non-citizen populations across our state. It is most important than ever that we maintain the integrity of our voter rolls and ensure only eligible voters decide our elections. Your proposal does the opposite by indiscriminately inviting county residents to register to vote regardless of their eligibility. I urge you to abandon this course of action. If you do not, I will see you in court. Now, I just read that whole thing out. That's the entire letter. What was the Hill talking about? Conflating non-citizens. Yeah, let's read that again. Paxton's letters targeted proposals by both counties to mail voter registration forms to eligible but unregistered voters, which he conflated in his letter with non-citizens. I don't know, yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that whatsoever, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but let's continue. I urge you to abandon this course of action, Paxton wrote to the Harris County Commissioners. If you do not, I will see you in court. The correspondence comes in the wake of repeated Republican moves against voter registration and get out the vote efforts in Texas' Democratic-leaning urban counties, a campaign that comes amid a tightening 2024 race and a broad trend of Democratic gains in the state. Polling last week found that both Reps Colin Allred, who is challenging Senator Ted Cruz for his seat in the Senate, and Vice President Harris trailed their Republican opponents by 9 points, according to the Hill Decision Desk HQ. But other late August polls have found Harris within 3 to 5 points behind Trump, and Texas elections have been narrowing for decades. In 2020, Trump took Texas with a 5.6 percentage point spread, the closest since former Senator Bob Dole took the state by 5 in his losing bid to unseat former President Clinton. That's a significant decrease from 2016, when Trump won the Lone Star State by 9 percentage points, and a collapse in the lead seen during the election of former President George W. Bush, who won the state by an excess of 20 percentage points. Now, what they're trying to do, they're actually conflating actual results from an election to polling. Now, that come on, the Hill, that's ridiculous. What are you trying to argue here? That, just because a lot of people are fleeing communist California and moving to Texas, that the races are getting tighter in Texas? Yes. What does that have to do with voter registration? Has nothing to do with any of that. So why would they throw that argument in here? I don't understand. I don't get it. What are they trying to say with this? It has nothing to do with sending out voter registration forms by mail to anybody and everybody, regardless if they're registered to vote or not. That's one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever heard. And like Ken Paxton said in his letter, you're now spending hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to print all these applications out to send to people who are already registered to vote. That is outright ridiculous. If people want to vote, they go to the tax assessor's office or the clerk of court or whatever, blah, 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 whatever it is in your state, and you go register. That's how it's done. Just because it's convenient to have them mailed out. I mean, like I said earlier, we have millions of non-citizens in this country, and it would be really easy to just fill out one of these applications and send it right on in. Then you can go vote. But Democrats say, oh no, it's illegal. Yeah, so is speeding. We don't just give up on people speeding. No, we send out police patrols to go and patrol the streets and radar people. We actually have units here in Louisiana. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but we have a traffic division that's all they do. Speeding, stop signs, red lights, you name it. Blinkers, all that. That's what their specific task is to catch speeders, blah, 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 you get it. Yeah, we have a specific task force for that. So the fact that he's wanting to stop this, to look into some of these criminal aliens that could possibly be voting in our elections, is very sensible, considering we have so many in the country. These people are just insane. Like, they just can't explain why they want to allow these people to vote. Why they want all these people in here. Why they're just blanket sending out voter registration forms to everybody. That makes no sense, folks. That makes no sense whatsoever. Right? We want integrity in our elections. We don't want just anybody and everybody voting. That's ridiculous, right? Like, some people shouldn't vote. I'll be honest with you on that. Some people probably shouldn't vote. If you don't want to vote, then you shouldn't vote. That's the people I'm talking about. Some people don't know, don't care. Guess what? Don't vote. That's all there is to it. They don't want to participate in their civic duties. Let them be. Don't force or try to force them, sending them an application when people are crooked. People do crooked things. You send in a voter registration, right? Somebody might just fill it out with some random name and send it in, and then go vote twice. Now, that's highly unlikely that somebody would do that, but you can't put it past people to do that. Would it be widespread? Probably not. But why would we want to give people the availability to do that in the first place? It makes no damn sense. So I don't know what the hell they're arguing here. It's ridiculous. The two counties Paxton targeted are either Polarity or majority Latino. Nearly a fifth of all Texas Latinos live in Harris County alone, and both went to President Biden in 2020 by wide margins. In 2020, Biden won Harris County, the state's most populous, by 14 percentage points and more than twice the statewide spread between the candidates. That year, the Democratic challenger's lead in Bexar was even more striking. The president won the county by 18 percentage points and more than 3 times Trump's statewide margin of victory. That trend has also corresponded with a rhetorical and legal GOP campaign against non-citizen voting, an alleged threat that Paxton argued Monday had made 2 counties' voter registration efforts particularly troubling in this election cycle. Yeah, we read that. Non-citizen voting is a phenomenon whose frequency is effectively zero, the Libertarian Cato Institute found. How do they know this? Right? So they do some research into this, but once again, how are you going to know that if we don't do an audit of who voted? They don't do that, by the way. They don't audit every single voter. You know how long that would take? You know how hard that would be? They didn't do an audit. They randomly picked this out and found none and said there's no fraud. You know what that's like? And you know what it sounds like to me? It's like taking a cup, walking over to the ocean or a lake or anything, scooping your cup in, looking at the glass full of water, and saying, there's no fish in this cup. Fish don't exist. There was no fish out here in the ocean. That's what that says to me. And that is how they do studies like this or whatever. To understand why, the Brennan Center for Justice posed a thought experiment. Imagine the case of an undocumented migrant or a criminal alien in the U.S. living in fear that notice from the government will get them deported and potentially cause them to leave behind their family. Would you risk everything, your freedom, your life in the United States, your ability to be near your family, just to cast a single ballot? Good job for throwing out a totally ridiculous and irrelevant argument. That makes no sense whatsoever. Do we actually think that these criminal aliens living in this country are scared they're going to get deported when the Biden administration is allowing them to come in by the millions? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's BS. That's just completely wrong. And we know for a fact that the federal government is registering some of these people to vote because they're eligible to vote in certain local municipalities, right? So we know that. So to think that these people wouldn't vote, it's outright ridiculous. This is not an argument. These people are not in danger at all of getting expelled from the country, not unless Donald Trump wins the election. Right? They know, I'm pretty sure they know that they're not going to do an audit of the election. They're not going to get found out about. So yes, hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens could be voting in our elections, and we would never freaking know it if they don't do an audit. If they don't ever go through all this crap, they don't audit the election. They don't look at all the ballots to confirm that, this person voted, yep, they're a citizen. This person voted, yep, they're a citizen. This person, no, I'm sorry, they don't do that. They might randomly pick some out, but you know what? Doesn't matter at all. There's fraud in every single election, and we need more integrity around our elections. What the Democrats are basically saying is that because people speed, it's illegal to speed, that we shouldn't have cops get out there and pull people over and fine them with a ticket that they have to go to court and pay that ticket. We shouldn't do that at all just because it's illegal to speed. Guess what? Murder is illegal as well, but people commit murder all the damn time. There's all kinds of crimes that, as a matter of fact, to be a crime, it has to be illegal to do, but people break the law constantly. Just because we make something illegal doesn't mean that people aren't going to try to do it. We put up safeguards to try to prevent people from doing this kind of crap, like speed limit signs and speed cameras and cops patrolling all over the damn place. Yeah, we do stuff like that. Why would we not do this with our elections? It makes no sense. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Do you think that thousands of criminal aliens are voting in our elections? I honestly have no idea. I think, honestly, the number is very, very small and insignificant, to be honest with you. But you know what? It sure would be really nice to know. It would be nice for them to audit an election to find that absolutely zero criminal aliens voted in that election. That would be reassuring to me. And I would probably never say anything ever about this ever again. But you know what? It doesn't appear to be that's the case. And I can almost assure you that at least one has voted in a federal election. It's almost a guarantee. Almost. But that's just idle speculation, folks. Based on evidence that I've seen, but still speculation. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.